Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of the Real Life Process podcast. I am so glad to be with you today. I am the host of the podcast, Teresa McCloy, and we have been diving in on the last several episodes to the tool of the Enneagram. And so we're going to continue that conversation here today as we talk about the tool of the Enneagram. We have been looking at just what is the tool. We've looked at how to find your type. We've looked at what we call stances and how you kind of take this approach with each of your types and how that works together in harmony. And so I want to continue to dive in to that conversation today. Now, we will have in the show notes for you a couple of different ways for you to connect to the tool of the Enneagram. We'll have our free typing guide. If you're not familiar with the tool at all, this might be really helpful for you to just see some of the different descriptions of those 9 types that sit around the Enneagram circle, and just read about them and see which ones you might connect with, and also what harmony triad you might connect with in that head, heart, and body space. And then we'll also have a place for you to actually take the Enneagram assessment profile, the real life Enneagram personality profile. And you can take that through that link. We have an offer for you there if you'd really like to dive deeper and actually do an online assessment with that tool of the Enneagram. Now, one of the reasons that we use the Enneagram here in the work that we do is because we just feel like it can be a great personality profile dive into knowing of your real self. And when we know our real self, when we kind of know how we're wired, how we're designed, what makes us tick, not only in the Enneagram, but in our needs and our values, and getting into the areas of focus that we want to focus on and taking that out into actionable steps through projects that we're working on. Those are really kind of the 4 components of the real life process: the real life being, real life action, real life time, and real life living. And so the Enneagram is one of the tools we use foundationally in that work and in the work that we give to other coaches, speakers, and trainers and organizational leaders to use in the work that they do. Now, not everyone who has been certified in the real life process uses the tool of the Enneagram, but many really find it valuable to know, like, and trust, lean into this tool. But on this episode today, where I want to talk is just something really simple and practical around 2 different questions that each of these types, these 9 different personality types or styles, might be asking, and will just help you discover a little bit more. The first question is, for every single type, how do you know it's been a good day? How would knowing what a good day is like help you even discover what your type is like? So if you normally come to the end of your day and you're like, gosh, today felt really good, then what might that tell you about your particular personality type? And the other question is, where does your authority come from? In other words, when you're making a decision, when you're leaning into what would I decide on this? What would help me know this was good for me in my own internal authority? What would that be? So I want to walk through both of those things. And first, I'm going to address this idea of authority. What makes me know that this is what I always check in with around my authority? And I'm just going to go through all of the 9 types. And what I'd love for you to pay attention to is, yes, that sounds like me. Yes, that's a clue into this clue box of what makes me tick and how God has specifically wired and designed me. So let's start up in the body types of the 8, the 9, and the 1. So a type 8 on the Enneagram, which is the powerful person, the person who leans from a place of power and authority by nature, really does get their authority from a gut knowing. I don't know why I know, but I know that this is a gut knowing of this is something that I just feel it in my gut. And my authority actually comes from that ability to lean in and, in a healthy way, have a gut knowing about something. For the type 9, the authority really comes from if I've brought calm to the situation, then that feels like that's where I'm coming from. I bring calm in, I can see all sides of things, and I can be the calm in the eye of the storm. And that's where I know my authority is. Yes, this is who I am. I am the calm in the storm. For the type 1, who also sits in that body space, the authority comes from, I know this is the right thing to do. So when we say that I know statement in it, for the 8, 9s, and the 1s, I know from a gut instinct, I know from a calming place. For the 9, and I know this is the right thing, is where the 1 comes from, all coming from that gut internal knowing. Now, what about our what about those who sit in the heart space? Where does their authority come from? Well, for the 2, it comes from a place of love. I know what would be best for us and what would feel the most loving. And this feels loving. So I follow that path of authority. For the 3, their authority, their knowing comes from they felt competent or confident in their decision, in the way that they're looking at it. This feels confident. I'm confident about that. I know that I'm confident about it. And for the 4, the knowing can come from that sense of I could go deep. This feels deep to me. This feels like a deep feeling, a deep emotion, a deep way of being with this person. So their knowing, their authority comes from how deep does it feel? Now, moving on around into the next center of intelligence is actually from our head types. And their authority comes in a different way. It actually comes from that head space. And so for that type 5, their authority comes from their knowledge and from their wisdom. And for the type 6, their authority actually comes from an inner spirit or an inner guide. And which is interesting for the 6, who probably struggles the most with using their voice and having their authority come from them, that they actually are trusting and leaning in on an inner voice, on an inner guide, an inner spirit, and a Holy Spirit knowing is where the 6 comes from and has authority. And for the 7, the last one in our headspace, it comes from a knowing of hope and seeing ahead, and the authority and the willingness to see all the possibilities, to have a hopeful attitude, to see all of the ways that this could work for the good and for the joy that's out there in the world. So what's interesting is as you hear those, you may say, yes, that is the way I process something. That is the way I know and trust my gut instinct, my heart instinct, my head instinct is through these authorities. And then the other part of this, the second 2 part of this question, as you look and discover, is what makes a good day for me? When I am listening in and leaning in to my Enneagram space, my type, or my harmony triad, what makes a good day? And as you listen through these, you might come from the place of going, yes, that helps me discover more of myself. When I am doing a practice of a daily examine or a weekly review, as we call it here at the Real Life Process, then I know that that helps me go, that that's why I feel like this is a good day. So again, let's start up there in the body types of the powerful person. How is the powerful person for that type 8? When they've had a good day, they're going to feel like they've been in control, they've been respected, they've been empowered, and they find such great satisfaction in being in charge and making decisive actions, but also advocating for someone else. When they look back and do a daily review, and if it's included any of those things, that's going to feel like a really good day to them. For that type 9, the peaceful person, a good day would involve experiencing inner peace and harmony and a sense that they've been in unity with others and that it's all been very calm and that they would feel content if they've had a balanced day, a peaceful day, a day that hasn't had a lot of conflict or tension, but yet has had an opportunity for them to relax and have connection with others. So if you're a type 9 and you get to the end of your day or the end of your week and those things have happened, you're going to feel like you've had a really good day. And if you long for those things, this is also a way to go, that's the way I want a day to feel. Is as you listen through these, you may go, that's the way I want a day to feel. That may give you some insight into your Enneagram type. So how about the type 1? Well, the type 1, if you remember, is the good person. So a good day for them involves accomplishing their goals, meeting standards that they've set out for the day or the week, and making progress towards those. Doesn't have to be complete, but they've made progress. And they're satisfied if they've made a positive impact or bring about positive change. Because remember, for the type 1, this good person, it's about changing things for the good of everyone, that moving toward stance of it's good for everyone. So our body spaces, the 8s, 9s, and 1s, that's how their good days are seen through their lens. How about for the heart types? Let's start with that loving 2 person. A good day for a 2, as you can imagine, we're in the feeling center now. So a good day for the 2 is going to feel that they were appreciated by others and that they were needed by others, not to a codependent place, but to a healthy place, and that they find a lot of support or find a lot of fulfillment in supporting others, assisting others. Their day would be really great and fantastic if they had had connection with others and opportunity to be of service. And for a type 3, which is our effective person, a good day for them involves being recognized, really having some achievement in their day. And if they've accomplished things, this sounds really similar to a 1, but it's a little bit different. And they've accomplished things and gotten positive feedback, and they've made progress in their personal and professional endeavors. You can see, I'll know if you've listened for very long that I'm a type 3 on the Enneagram. So when I can check those boxes, we've gotten things done, and they're in both my personal and professional, that feels really effective and good for me. And in that heart type, the type 4, which is the creative person, a good day really involves deep emotional connection. Maybe talking to someone for a really long period of time, but they also were able to express themselves and be authentic and find time in their day to be creative and inspiring and understood and appreciated for something unique about them. So if you think to yourself, wow, that's when I've had a really good day, is when somebody has been in deep conversation with me and recognized me for something unique about me, might be a signal that you are connected to the type 4 on the Enneagram. Now, how about our head types? What makes for a great day for them? Well, for the head types, starting with the type 5, the person that's wise, the wise person, a good day for a 5 always involves a learning opportunity, intellectual stimulation, uninterrupted time on their own in their own pursuits, and they would feel satisfied with the day if they had a chance to dive deep into their interests and gain knowledge and understanding and have a lot of time of solitude. So much like the 9, if you remember in the stances, the 9, the 5, and the 4 are more of the away. So that special, unique time of away. For the type 6, who is our loyal person, our dependable person, our devoted person, a good day for a 6 involves feeling secure and supported, even when challenges arise. So you hear that team aspect for them. They'd find comfort in having trusting relationships and stability and being able to anticipate and manage potential risks or problems. So they're looking ahead, trying to manage or feeling that they are managing. That makes for a good day, that they can manage the problems ahead of them. For a type 7, our last type, a good day for a 7 involves something that's a sense of adventure and freedom. Maybe not having such a rigid schedule as some of the other types would lean into on a daily basis. They would feel fulfilled if they have the opportunity to explore new experiences, have a little bit of fun in their day, and avoid restrictions or limitations. So you can see as we go through these that each of the 9 types have ways of feeling their inner authority and also of being able to define what a good day is. And as you listen to these, there are probably some for you that you say, oh, that does feel like me. When I've had a day like that, that's when it feels good. It's another way for you to lean in and be able, even in a practice, a rhythm, a behavior, like a daily or weekly review, to say, that's how I know when I'm living into my best self. One of the things that we love to help you with and that we teach our clients and the people that we work with is this idea of living from rest, not rush. And one of the ways that you do that is with good rhythms, behaviors, and routines, but then giving yourself some language to say, okay, if I'm reviewing my day on a regular basis, if I'm reviewing my week, that 4th component for us in the process of real life living is review. And if I'm doing this and I know that this is when I am going to feel my best days, is by describing them like this. You may want to actually write down, what does a best day feel like for you? What does a best day feel like for you? And what does it feel like when you're living into your authority? And those 2 things will help you say, this is me showing up as the best that God designed me. This is what it feels like to have a really good day. These are the descriptions that I would put in there. And maybe some of these things that we've talked about today on this podcast might be part of how you would describe your very best day. And lean into that and have a description of what you and God have discerned together, that this is a great day. Are they all going to be perfect? Are they all going to be the best day? Absolutely not. But when we have something that we know, that we have written down and that we have lived into, it can really help us lean into that phrase that I use every time here on the podcast. that every ordinary day does have an extraordinary moment. You just have to look for them. And by practicing what that looks like, what does a good day look like for me through the lens of my personality and how God has uniquely designed you, can help you recognize and respond into those days as your very best self. So have a great day, everyone. Remember that every ordinary day does have an extraordinary moment. You just have to look for them. And we'll be back right here next week with more from the Real Life Process podcast.